Proteins. Aims of lesson. At the end of the lesson, you should have a proper understanding of the structure of proteins, the synthesis of proteins and the functions of proteins. Proteins. General structure of monomers of proteins, amino acids. The differences between simple and complex proteins, also referred to essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. The general structure of polypeptides/simple proteins. The synthesis and hydrolysis of proteins. The main function/importance of proteins in living organisms. Introduction. Learning content covered in the previous lesson, fatty acids and biomolecules, must be in line with the current content that will now be covered. The purpose of this lesson is to discuss content associated with proteins. Concepts and skills. Proteins. The next group of organic compounds that are important for agriculture is the protein group. Proteins consists mainly of carbon, C, hydrogen, H2, oxygen, O2, and nitrogen, N. Proteins are made up of amino acids. They are nitrogen-containing organic molecules together, with an amino group, NH2, and a carboxyl group, COOH. The amino acid receives its base properties from the amino group and its acid properties from the carboxyl group. Structure of the monomers of proteins. A monomer, mono means one, is an atom or small molecule that can chemically bond with other monomers to form a polymer. Glucose is the most common natural monomer. It is bound by chemical bonds to form polymers such as cellulose and starch, which make up more than 76% of the mass of all plant material. However, glucose is not a protein. Proteins are very complex organic compounds. These are large molecules composed of small units known as amino acids. It has different features depending on their shape. Proteins are found in meat and muscle. Animals' bodies use proteins for growth and recovery, as well as for strengthening their bones. Proteins help to build tissues and cells in animals, plants, fungi, bacteria, and the human body. The amino acids in proteins form long chains or polymers. The amino acids are linked by peptide bonds. A better name for these polymers is polypeptides. Thus, proteins consist of one or more polypeptide molecules. There are 20 amino acids that occur naturally. Amino acids have nitrogen in their structure. Amino acids contain an amino group, NH2, as well as a carboxyl group, COOH. The structure of a simple amino acid looks like this. The structures of some simple amino acids look like this. Protein molecules are made up of a large number of up to as many as 20 different amino acids linked together by peptide compounds. Peptide compounds are formed by welding two amino acids together, with the loss of a water molecule. A simple way to think about amino acids. Each amino acid consists of a carbon atom attached to the following: a hydrogen atom, an amino group, i.e. an amino acid, a carboxyl group, COOH. It gives off a proton and is therefore an acid, namely an amino acid. And one of 20 different R groups. This is the structure of the R group that determines which one of the 20 it is and what properties it has. Simple and complex proteins. Simple proteins are proteins that produce only amino acids and possibly small carbohydrate compounds when broken down, hydrolyzed. Examples of these are albumins, globulins, glutenins, albuminoids, histones, and protamines. There are two types of complex proteins. Conjugated proteins are simple proteins combined with some non-protein material. Examples of these are nucleoproteins, glycoproteins, phosphoproteins, hemoglobins, and lecithoproteins. Derived proteins are proteins obtained by physical or chemical means of simple or conjugated proteins. Examples of these are denatured proteins and peptides. We must also note the difference between non-essential and essential amino acids. In fact, your body needs both to grow and function properly. The difference is that the body produces non-essential amino acids, there are 9, while you can only get the essential amino acids, there are 11, by eating protein-rich foods. Meat, chicken, dairy products, and nuts are rich in protein. Pasta, bread, and rice are not rich in it. The most important task of proteins is to build healthy muscles and organs in your body. Without protein you will be malnourished. One of the most important functions of agriculture is to produce foods rich in proteins for human consumption. Animal products are rich in protein and therefore the breeding of animals is an important part of agricultural science. An understanding of chemistry is important for planning and understanding animals' diets. The synthesis of proteins. To synthesize means to bring together. If we take two amino acids where R and R are any functional group and covalently link them in a peptide bond, we get a protein in water. The hydrolysis of proteins. The reverse reaction, i.e. the breakdown of peptide bonds to the constituent amino acids, is affected by hydrolysis. Many commercial food products use hydrolyzed vegetable proteins as seasonings. Soy sauce is produced by the hydrolysis of soybeans and wheat protein is produced by fungal fermentation or by boiling it with acid solution. Monosodium glutamate, MNG, a flavor enhancer, is a sodium salt of glutamic acid found naturally in seagrass and fermented soy products. There are 4 groups of proteins: enzymes, transport proteins, structural proteins, and hormones. Most proteins function as structural proteins and hormones. Most proteins function as biochemical reactions. Pepsin is a digestive enzyme that works in the stomach to break down proteins in food. Some proteins transport smaller molecules through the body, for example hemoglobin, which carries oxygen in the blood. Some proteins form structures. The most common structural protein is collagen, which is found in the meat and connective tissues of animals, where it makes up about 25% to 35% of the body's protein content. Hormones are messenger molecules that transmit signals, and some of them are proteins. The functions of proteins in living organisms. Building blocks. Proteins form part of the membranes that surround most cell organelles and the cell itself. Body structure and support. Collagen and elastin are 2 proteins that form connective tissue such as tendons and ligaments in animals. Keratin forms hair, nails, horns, hooves, scales, and feathers. Amino acid storage. Egg whites consist of protein used as a source of amino acids for developing embryos. Plants store amino acids in their seeds. Transport of substances. Hemoglobin, the iron-containing protein in blood, transports oxygen from the lungs to other parts of the body. Other proteins transport molecules through cell membranes. Coordination of physical activities. Proteins form hormones. An example is the hormone insulin, which helps to control the concentration of sugar in the blood. Movement. Proteins such as myosin are responsible for the movement of muscles. Disease protection. Antibodies are proteins that fight bacteria and viruses. Accelerate chemical reactions. Enzymes are proteins that accelerate chemical reactions in plants and animals. Buffers. Proteins have properties of both acids and alkalis. This allows them to act as buffers that keep the pH of body fluids constant. Buffers, molecules that prevent large changes in the pH of a solution. Interesting, indigenous edible plants such as amaranths, black-billed beans and pigeon peas, and edible insects such as mopane worms, termites and stink bugs are good traditional sources of protein. Activities and assessment. Say which word in column B matches the word or words in column A. 1. Column A, column B. Simple proteins 9. Amino acids, vegetable source of protein. Non-essential amino acids, animal source of protein. Essential amino acid synthesis. Soybean hydrolyzed to amino acids. Opposite of hydrolysis are. Represents a functional group, form long chain polymers. Meat 11. 2. What is the difference between A. Essential and non-essential amino acids. B. Synthesis and hydrolysis in proteins. C. Dipeptides and tripeptides. D. Biological catalyst and hormones. 3. Explain in your own words why proteins are important in the human diet. Consolidation. The lesson covered the content set out in the CAPS document. Values. By studying this lesson, you should be able to know and understand the concept proteins. Learners must understand what is covered in the content in order to successfully answer questions and the use of the necessary skills. Learners will be able to use the knowledge and skills as base for progression to the next week's lesson.
Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more future educational videos.